Hey guys, welcome to Traditional Bow Hunting Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkoviak. I'm here in Kansas. Want to do this video real quick before the sun comes up too high and starts to cause shadows. But I killed my buck yesterday at 2. So right now I'm doing what we call kind of observational scouting. And I do have a doe tag, so I am set up close to bedding here behind me if I get a doe that comes through here. So I'm kind of hunting, but I'm mainly just watching, seeing, and trying to have stuff identified for if we are able to pull tags next year. But when you're climbing up in the mornings, afternoons, or whatever, you need to learn to climb to shooting lanes, okay? So you got to pay attention to that, especially here in Kansas. Kansas has a lot of Osage, and Osage trees are notoriously branchy in every different direction, and every branch has more branches that come off, and it's unbelievable. And that stuff gets real tangly, especially when they're young. So here, this is an example of an Osage right here. This tree is an Osage, and you can see all the branches and all the crap that comes off of it, okay? And when they're young like this, they sprawl everywhere. And so you want to, as you're coming up, you need to pay attention to this stuff. And in the mornings, I'll leave my headlamp on high when I'm halfway, as I'm climbing. I'll momentarily turn my headlamp on high so that I can see, and I could see that I needed to be over this, that I got a couple little holes I can shoot through there that are going to work out. This looks like good shooting out here, right? It's not. Okay, actually the only shooting I have anywhere here is right next to that little pine tree that is, where's that on here? Hang on, let me see where I'm at. That little pine tree right there is the only shooting I have throughout this whole area because of all this stuff. Watch when I zoom in on there. Look at all this brush and Osage scrub that is down there. There's no possible way to shoot through any of this. They have to be right next to that pine tree. Now my shooting lane is actually right here. I do have a shooting lane there. I saw that. I can shoot that whole lane. This is all closed off right here because of all this scrub. Not even this branch here, but look at all the scrub in there. It's near impossible to try and get an arrow through there because it's just loaded and chock full of young Osage like this stuff you're seeing down here. So it's an absolute tangle mess of branches. You can really see it good if you look over there. Look at the gray line here. See all that brush? That's the stuff, that's what all of this is. So you got to pick your lanes. Out here, I have this one lane that goes right through here that I can shoot this side. Nothing here. Nothing here. Osage blocking it. I'm trying to block that sun for you. Osage blocking that. Here I got a little bit by that oak right there. That's nice. And a couple little spots here. But you can see how this Osage blocks all of that. Look at here. See how this Osage just shuts down everything there. Well, you can see that from your tree stand as you're climbing, and you can climb as high or as low as you need to be able to be under that kind of stuff. If I would have went any higher, this one right here, trying to block it, I would next to that oak, on the right side of that oak, I would have lost that hole if I would have went any higher. So by staying here lets me shoot that. Same with over here. If I'd have stayed any lower, this stuff would all be getting in the way. Now I got a little gap right there, right into that hole. It's a very small one, but you can see all this brush here that shuts everything down. And Kansas is notorious for that. Like I said, so much understory here. If you were ever to come here in the summer, this is a pure jungle. I mean, an absolute jungle with all the foliage on here. So you want to make sure that you are climbing so that you can find that cover, or that, not cover, that shooting lanes. You want to be able to climb up, and as you're climbing, turn that headlamp on, scan around, look for your holes, go, okay, if I go any higher, I can't shoot under or over this or under that, and then set your stand accordingly. It's more important that you have some kind of shooting than it is that you get to a certain height or anything like that, or that you maybe even hit cover, especially in a place like Kansas where these deer don't ever look up. I mean, you could be sitting in a 2-year-old poplar that's the size of a pencil, 5 feet off the ground, and deer will still walk under you here. It's different than Michigan or any of that kind of stuff. So make sure that you have those shooting lanes. And in the morning, people, that's the biggest fear for people. Well, I won't know where to set up. I won't know how to do it. That headlamp has got more power than you think it does if you take the time, turn it on high, use a good headlamp like a Phoenix HMR 50 or a Zebra light or something like that, so that you can actually make that that beam good and bright. In the morning darkness, those gray limbs, all of that gray stuff will reflect off of your light and turn pure white, so you'll see where every single one of them are, and you'll be able to identify all these holes very, very well. Then you hang your stand accordingly. This is a great tip, and it's very important that you do it. There are reasons to where, how, and how high I set up, and it's based on cover and it's based on shootability, and those are very important factors, and it can be done in the dark. I do it all the time. This entire year I have set up every single morning. I have hunted every morning, and I've done about 90 sits on stand so far this year, 95. Every single sit in the morning has been going in the dark, blind, to a place I've never been, and setting up like this. Like I just did here. This one, I was in here, you know, I was in an hour before dark. So I did, because I had to drop John off. He had to boat in. So tremendous amount of extra time. So I was in here way early. And setup was very easy because of the fact that I use that light and watch for those shooting lanes. That's a tip for you. All right, I just pulled down here. Like I said, I already filled my buck tag here, so it's observatory and trying to figure stuff out. And I actually, while I was sitting up here, found a spot on the map that looks phenomenal for an option for does that I want to try and get into. So I'm pulling down now, and I'm gonna go get stuff set up for John, get his boat ready for him so that he's ready to move. And I'm gonna go take a peek at that place, and if it's good, I'm gonna set up tonight. But point being, as I was up there, I showed you, take a look at this from ground level. Look at this stuff here. Let me bring you in. Look at this shoot, you know how it is here. Look at all this brush that I was telling you about that's here with all this stuff. This is that Osage stuff. Like I said, I mean, this stuff is everywhere, but Kansas especially, but many places, you got to really fight to pick your shooting through here. You know, it's just everywhere you turn is branches of some sort, somehow blocking your path through here. Every single place you turn is just tons and tons of brush. So when you're up there, though, I was up there, that's where I was, way up there. But when you're going up, pick your lines through there. Trying to pick them from down here on the ground, you'd have to walk big circles around here to figure that out. You don't have to do that. As you climb this tree, use that headlamp. It will reflect off of all this stuff and identify where those shooting lanes are for you from up there. Because not only do you got to contend with the stuff that you got to shoot through that's up high everywhere that you got to deal with, you got all this ground cover that's in here in a lot of places, and that's why deer love it here. I mean, look at this. Look how thick it is. They love this stuff. And so you got to keep that in mind and take it with a grain of salt, and, you know, do the best you can and pick those lanes on your way up. So there you go. Thanks for watching.